Hey everybody, Scott Holden here. Before we get started with the show, I just want to take a minute to tell you where you can find us out on the interwebs. That's right. First, you can find us at ThatMan on Fatman.com. That's right, ThatMan on Fatman.com. It's the central hub and the place where you can find links to all the other stuff I'm about to tell you about. So we're on Twitter. You can find us there at ThatMan on Fatman. We are also on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, so it's facebook.com/ThatMan on Fatman. Hey everybody, Scott Holden here. Before we get started with the show, I just want to take a minute to tell you where you can find us out on the interwebs. That's right. First, you can find us at ThatMan on Fatman.com. That's right, ThatMan on Fatman.com. It's the central hub and the place where you can find links to all the other stuff I'm about to tell you about. So we're on Twitter. You can find us there at ThatMan on Fatman. We are also on Facebook. We have a Facebook page, so it's facebook.com/ThatMan on Fatman. We're also on YouTube. On YouTube, you can find us at youtube.com/ThatMan on Fatman podcast. We are also on Instagram, where we're ThatMan at ThatMan on Fatman. And I believe we're even on, Snapchat as ThatMan on Fatman. So you can pretty much find us on ThatMan on Fatman everywhere on the internet. Please friend us. Also, if you're an iTunes subscriber, please go and give us a review. It's very helpful. It's one of the best things you can do for any show that you enjoy. So leave us a review on iTunes. If you listen on Stitcher, we're also there. We're also on SoundCloud. So check those out, and we appreciate it. And now, we hope you enjoy the show.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and I want to urge you to make a generous donation to the Wayne Foundation so we can stop the sexual trafficking of children. Do it, or I'll find you.
And don't forget to check out our good friend of the show, Mark Live, over at chundertunes.com for all your podcast animation needs. ThatMan on Fatman is recorded with a Zoom H6 handy recorder. Zoom for creators.
Disclaimer. The show you're about to experience is for entertainment purposes only. The hosts use mature language and conversation just like in most of life. If you're too uptight, this might not be for you. All that said, we really do hope you enjoy the show. But if you don't enjoy it, expect a nice big shipment of my joyous Joker juice on your doorstep in the very near future. Toodles!
As the world's biggest Kevin Smith fan, I appreciate the fact that somebody finally made a podcast about that interesting motherfucker. So yes, you absolutely did the right thing. If I mean, I know it's kind of gross for me to be like, yes, doing a Kevin Smith podcast was fucking smart. Yeah. But I do feel like it was smart. I appreciate it. I think you were right to do that.
Okay. What has two thumbs and is a huge fan of Kevin Smith? ThatMan!
What are we going to do about the pancake master?
We need a costumed vigilante is what we need. Justice can't be served unless it's being fought outside the system.
Here's what we're going to do, eh?
Oh, shit. It's ThatMan. Who is he? He's ThatMan. He's talking. What should we do?
Oh, there he goes by in the Thatmobile.
The what? Thatmobile, his car. Go get him, ThatMan.
Well, once upon a time, a regular man read a book written by the Fat Man. Tough shit, written by old Kev Smith. Kev said go out and start a podcast, and so I did, and I had a real blast. But my obsession was driving my co-host nuts. Didn't want to bring the podcast down. Needed Porkchop Murphy to hang around. So I create a new show with one heck of a plan, and I call that show That Man on Fatman, because we're going to chat about Kevin Smith. That's right, let's talk about old Kev Smith. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this episode 33 of That Man on Fatman. I am Scott Holden, and I am your host for today as I'm scrambling to try and set up the shot for the other. So when I pan over and say the right thing, that I am joined here today by my producer extraordinaire and part-time, full-time co-host, Gene Holden. And there we go. Oh, it might help if your mic was on. I always that's where I fuck up. That's where I fuck up every week.
Saturday,
turning the mic on.
Saturday in rainy New Jersey.
Saturday, it's rainy in New Jersey.
And windy.
I'm gonna adjust your camera a little.
And very windy. We missed Joaquin.
Yes, we missed Joaquin, but we have some sort of nor'easter.
Yes.
Everyone, look at the shaky earthquake cam.
Is that what it is now? It's a nor'easter now?
Well, that's what the rain is coming from.
Oh, okay.
Like a big pile of junk. So there we go.
Granola bars.
Yeah.
A coffee can. People can deal.
Yes, and the rain played a major damper on filming this weekend as well, which kind of sucked.
Yeah, it did.
We were supposed to be filming with Jenny and Noelle, but they didn't want to risk the rain.
Well, I think it was flooding.
And the flooding,
wind.
Which I'm sure is
and then Noelle.
Probably not at all an issue, but I'm sure it was more like, Noe, are you crazy? You can't drive there in that weather. You know what? You're going to die. You need an outboard motor on your car. So that's probably what's going on. And the swing is they're going to rape you if you go over there. Where are my cigarettes? Get down to the store. Get me 6 cartons of Pall Mall.
Does she smoke? Did we find that out?
Oh, yeah. I did confirm that she did smoke.
Aww, poor mom. She worries about her baby.
Yeah, but hang on. Before we get too much further into things, let me just do a little more camera shenanigans here. And let's see. There's you. No, we don't want to do that. I am.
What's wrong?
Ooh, okay. I know how to do this. I'm gearing up for this week's Smedlines.
Oh, okay.
So,
This is Ben from the blog Indie Mac User with the Smedlines Roundup for the 3rd of October 2015. After touring Australia, Kevin Smith is in Vegas this week for 2 shows with Ralph Garman and Jason Mewes at the Hard Rock. Also, at his appearance at the Graphic Festival held at Sydney Opera House, Kevin announced Yoga Hosers will start appearing at film festivals from January. Also, his TV show, Comic Book Men, will appear again on AMC from the 18th of this month. That's the Smedlines for this week.
And there we go. There's the Smedlines. I just put up with me as I figure out how to bring everyone back on camera here. Where are you? Oh boy, where'd everybody go? Yep, there you are. Okay. I'm feeling much better now.
I'm on Cat Patrol.
Yes, I saw you.
Little Miss Cup needs to come in.
So this week we have a very cool week of filming, even though, so we were supposed to film Listeners on Friday, but that was a washout because of our nor'easter. And now we were supposed to film Jenny and Noelle today, but that was a washout because of Jenny and Noelle. But this week we got a bunch of stuff coming up. First, we have the guys from East Coast
ECN podcast in South Carolina.
Yes, and if you recall, some of you may recall, I was a guest on their show, and they did a great show, sort of about the movie,
right?
About the origin of the movie. As a matter of fact, it's one of those podcasts you can point to say, "Hey, you want to know about the project? Go check out their ECM or ECM
ECN. It's
ECN.
Bo, Matt, and Scott.
Yeah.
Is it Scott?
I'm drawing a
so.
blank.
I thought his name was Scott.
They were a lot of fun.
They're fun.
And I think we may have stolen the same video app they use to do their live. I think we took a page out of their book.
What do you mean?
I think they might, just judging on the look of their video feed that they use. I think we're using the same app
For YouTube?
For streaming, yeah.
But that's
video.
okay then.
Yeah, no, just saying. I guess great minds think alike. Yo.
Yep. They're coming Tuesday, flying up Tuesday.
They're flying up Tuesday?
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
we're shooting with them on Tuesday.
Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yes. We're shooting with them on Wednesday.
7th.
But they're going to be flying through some fun weather.
I think it might be better than we at first thought.
Well, it's supposed to be hitting down there kind of wet. I don't know.
Yeah. But
well,
hope it's all right.
Yes. Well, I'm already sick of the weather problem.
Good vibes. Yes. I know, and there's nothing you can do about the weather. It's like and getting upset about it.
But Friday, I am super psyched for
Guys We Fuck
podcast. Yeah, because
I'm excited to meet them.
Yeah. And I've been
They're so funny.
I have been enjoying their podcast of late.
Yeah,
it's
the latest one you were talking about. Interesting.
Yeah, it's
off the chain.
They're just off the hook. Yeah.
Off the hook.
I respect and admire their openness and honesty.
I do too.
And maybe it's easy when you're 30. I don't know.
Yeah, and they're not like that annoying kind. I don't know. There's an annoying kind.
You don't feel like they're doing it to get attention.
No, I don't feel like they're doing it on purpose. I just think they're being themselves, which I like.
Yeah,
they're important. Just they're confident and funny and.
Corinne and Christina.
And
it was very hard to that Christina name, man.
It's KHRY.
I know. And she's the wild one too. She's the one. Is she? Yeah, she's the one who's like having fun, setting up this 3-way, and meanwhile the other one's like,
what is she not into it?
Yeah, she's like very almost prudish, I would say.
Maybe that's just not her thing.
Yeah, well, obviously.
So it's KHRYSTYNA. That's how you spell her name, Christina.
I wonder if I guess that's her mom.
You can see them. S-A. Sorry about last night.
SRY.
SALN. SALN. At I forget at what, but that's their email.
And then I think
if you need it, just
on Saturday, I think we're shooting Where's Larry?
With
Where's Larry?
Yeah,
they haven't confirmed.
They have not confirmed.
Hey, douchebags, get on the stick. Call us back. We're trying to get this going here. Fucking Larry.
Larry, we need you now.
Yes. Where are you, Larry?
Where are you, Larry?
Larry. But other than this week, I mean, shooting's been going really well. We've gotten a lot of good material. Been enjoying what we've been doing.
I watched a little bit of it today.
Yes, Jean was watching
Bob
some
Levy.
footage, some of the stuff she hadn't seen before.
And who else did I watch?
You watched Conti and Kenny.
I like them a lot.
And you even watched some
some Fanboys Inc. I like that too.
Fanboys Inc. as well.
Yeah. Everybody. And it's neat because all of them were in different places, so it kind of gives you a different feel.
Yeah. And we're looking at raw footage that's been compressed and so that we can watch it on the TV quickly.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Believe it or not, the original footage looks better. I mean, you're looking at the dailies essentially, which isn't as good.
It sounds good. It's exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm enjoying the support from folks on the finding some really cool people. Damien has been a wonderful find. He's been a great shooter.
Yep.
And also Ernie's been another nice resource. He's been helping us out on the back end. And things have been. I mean,
I don't know. I was going to say something dirty, but I'm not. It's been great. We've had a lot of people supporting.
I was looking for the coffee hat, but I don't know where to put it. I think I threw it out. Deathwish coffee. Yeah.
Thank God for you this morning is all I can say.
Yeah.
We ran out of our K-cups. We were like running around crazy.
Yeah, we had to bust open.
I didn't
We used an old-fashioned French press.
We used the French press, and it was damn good.
Yeah, we're zippity doo down probably for
a while.
a good hour on
Really
them,
strong
too. Yeah.
and just great.
Because
I
you
like
don't
the
realize
press,
when you do a French press how strong it is.
Yeah,
it's
the French
the boiling
press,
hot water.
Yeah, it's almost double the strength.
Yeah.
And the Death
So
Wish
brewed
coffee
up
is
some Death Wish,
strong.
and we were.
Yeah,
it's strong, but it's not.
no, it's not
weird.
bitter.
It's not
it doesn't
bitter.
have
Yeah,
that because I'm not really. I love coffee, so I can
Sound
talk
like
about
Butter's
this.
dad.
I can talk about this.
The mountain sun and the brewing
I
and the
love
beans.
I love coffee. I like really any sort of coffee.
Yeah,
but
she's like
kind that
she has
that means
this thing where she cannot. She's in a terrible mood until she has her first cup of coffee.
And I'm sure there's many people like
I
that.
think it's very Pavlovian.
So let me finish.
Okay.
I'm not really like an Italian roast, dark roast, French roast kind of girl. I don't really like that because it tastes burnt to me.
I like Donut Shop.
Donut
I like
Shop
that
is
medium.
Good, but I'm telling you, the Death Wish coffee, I drank it that first day, and then I remember thinking, like, what have I been drinking? Water? Like, I have to drink like 2 cups of this donut house or donut.
It was stronger.
Yeah, to get
it had more
this.
kick.
Yeah, and just the taste, it was more like it was very good. So if you guys want to,
please, Death Wish,
try it out.
Try out Death Wish.
It's really good.
And hey, Death Wish.
We love your coffee.
We're waiting on you.
We love your coffee.
We love your coffee.
Your coffee's great.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
Also, actually, it's a good time to get kind of a plug out of the way because we haven't done it in a while. audibletrial.com/ThatMan on Fatman.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying this, audibletrial.com/ThatMan on Fatman. You should go there. If you've not signed up for Audible before, you should go there and sign up so that you can get as your free book, Kelly Carlin's new autobiography about her and growing up Carlin. And it's a Carlin home companion.
Mm-hmm.
And you can check that out as your free book if you go to audibletrial.com/ThatMan on Fatman. So there you go. We got our Audible thing out of the way.
Yep.
And Kelly Carlin was just in town, but we totally missed.
She was in New York.
Yeah, we totally.
She was busy. We were busy, and it was
2 ships that passed in the night.
Yeah. But we'll meet for the movie at some point.
Yes, I feel like we're leaving something out. Like something happened that something's going on. Well, the big Comic-Con, New York City Comic-Con is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be crazy here.
Kevin's going to be
in the area
on the 10th again. Like the last couple of years, it seems like it's always been that same weekend because that's our anniversary.
Oh yeah. It always is. And this year he's doing a couple shows. He's doing a show in Philly, but that's the same night we're doing. We're filming with the guys we fucked.
That's the 9th they're in Philly, and then the 10th.
And then the 10th they're in New York City.
Okay.
He's got
one Hammerstein again.
Yeah, and that's with Ralph.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so
we were at Philly, remember? Was it last year?
Yeah, but unfortunately they're packed back to back. And we cannot seem to get on the schedule for this time around. It really stinks.
Yeah.
We're kind
of
we're crestfallen.
Things kind of happen in weird ways.
Yeah.
In this universe. They seem to jump around.
Yes, jump around. So yeah, usually when we admit defeat is when next thing you know we're getting a call saying Kevin can.
See, that's what happens when you surrender all the worry. I'm telling you, when you surrender the worry and
accept defeat.
Yeah, pretty much. But you know what? I don't really consider it defeat. It's more like, why worry about every little thing?
Yes.
I feel like I'm wired to be that way, and it's a lot of work to be the other way. I just have to be conscious of not doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably half the battle right there. If you're conscious of it, you won't worry about it because there's nothing really we can do.
Yep.
Take all
acceptance is the key.
The right steps and surround ourselves with positive people like we have. Yeah.
All right. Speaking of positive people.
Yeah.
A good way to pivot over to our guest this week. Now, what you're about to see and hear was recorded earlier this week, but in thinking of the show now that we have this video component going, I thought ahead and said, well, let me give him something. So I ran a camera on myself during the interview. Now I had to take because that camera's audio didn't take a patch, so meaning it wouldn't take my board feed. It was just rolling. I had to apply the audio after the fact to the video. So it may not be a perfect match at all moments, but it's close enough to hold your fancy. And maybe it'll even, you know, if someone doesn't know and doesn't hear this little bit, maybe they went to the bathroom, it'll freak them out when they come back and be like, well, is that the vocal? Is it matching? But yeah, it might be a little weird at points. So I think, but for the most part, I'm close enough that I feel comfortable. I also put it in sort of a weird black and white thing, so you know it's not live. Now all that said,
It's very calculated. Let's just say that.
Oh, come on.
I'm just teasing you.
All that said, this interview was really cool. I mean, Frank Conniff, I was a huge MST3 Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan.
Mm-hmm.
And while we get into that a little bit during the discussion, another thing that I had no idea about was Frank's past with Air America.
Yeah.
Something that I was a big fan of when it was on, and is now, like, I think so many Air America launched so many careers of future podcasters and TV stars and you know, just people that it's very interesting.
And it seems
this
like
connection, and
some of the people that were in that place are in the movie.
Oh yeah, or great candidates for it if they're not in it. So that was a really nice discovery. And of course, Frank will be in the movie. We talk about that. We're filming him later this month, and but that was during the interview. That's one of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
So
well, because he's a writer, so it's definitely something that comes out. He explains all that.
Yeah. So I think at this time I'm going to queue up the interview, and that'll be the next thing here. But first, let me do this. Hey, it's just me now.
So I can.
Yes, currently you are off.
Okay.
I'm going to queue up this interview.
Joining me now at this time.
Stop. All right, here it comes. I don't know how we can actually pin this next guest to Kevin Smith, even though this is a Kevin Smith-based show, except for I would say that Kevin Smith, if not anything, encourages chasing one's whimsies. And I was a huge fan of a television show called Mystery Science Theater 3000 back in the day. And when the opportunity came about that we could possibly get TV's Frank on the show, I said, you know, Kevin Smith be damned. We're getting Frank Conniff on the show. So I'm so overjoyed to welcome to the show at this time, Mr. Frank Conniff, also known as TV's Frank from Mystery Science Theater 3000. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad to have you. I don't know if you remember this, but I was wondering if, to open this up, you would do me an honor.
Mm-hmm.
Would you possibly do me I have this harmonica here. Hang on. There we go. I was wondering if you'd do me the honor of singing along to Johnny Long Torso.
Oh, I know the song you're referring to, but it was so long ago, I don't know if I remember exactly how it goes.
All right. That's okay. That's perfectly acceptable. So, can you give me a little bit of your background and how you fell into that show and sort of, you know, take me through your story? I'd love to hear more about you.
I ended up on Mystery Science Theater because I was a stand-up comedian, which I still am, and I ended up in. I'm from New York City, but I ended up in Minneapolis, and I was doing stand-up comedy there, and you know, I became in the course of doing comedy, like in the mid to late '80s. Excuse me, I became friends with Mike Nelson, who, when I met him, I met him at an open mic that I was running in Minneapolis, and that's where I met his wife Bridget as well, and we all became really good friends. And I met Trace Beaulieu, around that time, and who was also on the stand-up comedy scene there, and J. Elvis Weinstein, who was also around then, and Joel Hodgson, who had already been to LA and had been on Letterman and had been on Saturday Night Live, and he kind of dropped out of show business and had moved back to Minneapolis. And so when he started, as a lot of people, fans of the show probably know, he started Mystery Science Theater on a local UHF station in Minneapolis called KTMA, and they did it for a season, and then they sold it to the Comedy Channel. And did it for a season there. And then in the second season, J. Elvis left the show to move to LA, and there was an opening, and I knew those guys and they knew me, and they just figured I'd be the perfect guy to replace Josh as a writer. And so I got hired as a writer, and then they also made me a character on the show. So it was all just very fortuitous, lucky, just being in the right place, and I just kind of wandered into it, and I've always been very grateful for that.
So you were originally from New York?
Yes.
Where in New York?
I grew up in Manhattan on the Upper East Side. I now live in the West Village.
Oh wow!
And I'm a New Yorker who considers himself an honorary Minnesotan.
I was going to say, why Minneapolis? It's such an odd place.
Well, I lived there for 10 years, and it's actually a really great city. A very, a lot of great theater there, a lot of great comedy, obviously, great music. It's a terrific place to go to.
Yeah. It's just, it's so funny because you figure New York is the Mecca, it's the show.
Yeah, well, I'm the only guy who left New York to go to the Midwest to get on a TV show.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So how long did you do the show? You were at least what?
I was there for 5 seasons.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
1990 to 95. And then I moved to LA. I decided I wanted to kind of branch out and see if I could work on other TV shows. Mm-hmm. And because I'd always wanted to do that. So I moved out there, and I ended up writing for Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Invader Zim, The Drew Carey Show, The Tom Green Show, and then I came back to New York and worked on Air America, and then I went back to LA, and
wait, backpedal. Hang on, hold the phone. You were on Air America?
Yeah, I was a writer. Liz Winstead, who you might know, co-created The Daily Show and is one of my closest friends.
Yes, and hers was the morning show with Rachel Maddow and Chuck D.
Chuck D. Yes, I wrote for that. I wrote for Mark Maron's early morning show.
Oh wow! I did not realize that at all. I'm fat.
I wrote a sketch every day for that show that he did with Kent Jones, who to this day works on the Rachel Maddow show, and he would play a character, and he and Maron would do a sketch every day, and I was the guy who wrote it, and then I also wrote for Liz's and Rachel's show, and and I wrote for Janine Garofalo and Sam Cedar's show.
I did not realize that. That's amazing.
Just wherever I was needed.
Because you have to realize so that was around 2001,
2004 about.
Was it 2000? Okay, so I personally had moved from here from New York, New Jersey area down into Virginia. And this was around 2001. And then, of course, we had all this horrible, we had 9/11.
Right.
And then I felt so disconnected. And then that horrible, another election and all that shit. So at that point, I'd gotten on satellite because of all guys, Opie and Anthony, but then found Air America and was a junkie. So I followed Air America from its birthplace.
Air America stuff for sure. Not a lot of people remember that Liz and Rachel Maddow and Chuck D had a show.
Oh, I loved it. I listened. I mean, that was like my sanity, for a while.
That was, Liz, in addition to discovering Stephen, well, not discovering, but, giving a big break to Stephen Colbert and to myself. Liz is the first person who ever gave me a spot in a comedy show that wasn't an open mic.
Oh, wow.
We're talking like 1986. And she also brought Rachel Maddow to the fore. That was the first time people became aware of her on a bigger level, and that was the start of a really amazing career. And Rachel was just a really wonderful person to work with, just one of the nicest people I've ever met, and literally the smartest person I've ever met.
And I have to say, right before they canceled Mark's show, God, it was getting brilliant. Some of the future Mark bits were totally like brilliant. I thought they were going to new places.
Well, by the time the Maron show came to an end, I had already been laid off there. Yeah, I mean, it was a horribly run place.
That is the legacy.
It was a disaster on many levels. And,
a lot of pissed off people.
And I had left. I had been laid off by then, and I know they brought in a new guy to run it. I think his name was Danny Goldberg, and who had a background in the music industry. And he told Mark Maron, I don't think comedy works on Air America, and so he canceled the Mark Maron show, which is just really hilarious when you consider how influential Mark has come in the world of radio, which we now call podcasting.
Yep.
But he's made a gigantic impact in that field, and yet this douchebag just didn't understand anything. He was actually replaced, if I'm not mistaken, by Jerry Springer on the show.
Yes, he was indeed. Yeah, he was.
So it was just the way that Air America was run was just a disaster. The people who were the financiers of it, or the guy who it was just a complete disaster. Except that those of us who worked there, it was great to be working there for a while. And as I've said, I mean, the people the legacy of Air America is Mark Maron, Rachel Maddow, Al Franken.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a
Lionel, believe it or not.
a lot of good came out of Air America, even though Air America itself was kind of a disaster.
Yeah, and I believe even after it was saved more to become a political tool for a particular candidate, and there was a whole fiasco.
It was just it could have been really great. I always thought they really, they were so ambitious in terms of they were going to buy like dozens of stations. It was like a crazy, grandiose, delusional plan. They should have started with one station, and built it up for there, because they were trying to be the liberal equivalent of Rush Limbaugh, and Rush Limbaugh started on one station, and it just built up from there, and that's what they should have done, but they didn't.
Well, now we don't really even have to worry about that anymore. Things are changing so rapidly that,
and what? Another thing that was kind of ironic about it is that, there was this. Air America was kind of started on this idea of, we have to have a liberal voice in the media, which is a great thought, and we have to counteract the conservative talk radio, which is also a great thought. But it started up right around the same time that political blogs on the internet were starting. Exactly. Daily Cause and Digby and Josh Marshall, all these great. So then there really did become a very powerful liberal voice that happened.
Yeah, Sam Cedar, I remember, was a big booster of so many of those blogs too.
He did, and he and Janine, because I was just starting to read them. I didn't know that much about them, and then I remember I was reading the blogs, and I realized, in Sam and Janine's studio, oh my God, 2 weeks ago I met Atrios. I didn't even know who he was. like 2 weeks later, he was like a big deal to me. But when I met him, I didn't know. Janine and Sam were kind of into the blogs a little bit before I was. So I was, I caught up a little bit after them. But now it's like to this day, I devour them, all of them every day.
Yeah, back then I just remember that Air America was sort of my lifeline for sanity and all that craziness, especially because I'd relocated down to a very southern part of Virginia, just on the border of North Carolina, so and very military area, so it felt kind of nuts, So it was like, yay, a different opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. There was a lot of good in it, but it just was not run properly.
Yeah, and I'd be lying if a lot of that definitely influenced, where I ended up in terms of podcasting and getting my own voice. And I always think back to Jello Biafra used to always say, don't hate the media, become the media.
Yeah, and that's a great thing to say. And in this day and age, it's more possible than ever.
Yeah, there's zero gatekeepers if you know how to put your stuff online.
Yeah, and I didn't realize at the time, I was, I'd been working in TV and now I was working in radio, and even after I got laid off there, I didn't realize that audio comedy and audio programming was going to become a gigantic part of my life in the form of podcasting.
Yeah. So tell us about your podcast. Yours is very, you do one of those very highly produced shows.
Yeah, well, so far I've only managed to do one episode of my podcast a year. I've done 3 of them.
Well, at least that's consistency,
Yeah, and I have a 4th one that's going to come out in a month or so, I hope. And because I decided that I really wanted, I'm in addition to being a comedian, I'm a writer, and I'm very interested in telling stories, and I come up with a lot of ideas for goofy things and there's no outlet for that side of me, at least in terms of television. Nobody in TV or movies is interested in hearing my ideas, so so I just decided I'm gonna produce my own radio plays that I write myself, and I direct them, and I co-write the song. They all have songs in them, and I co-write them with my brother Tony. And the great resource that I have going for me that enables me to do this is I have a lot of really brilliantly talented, hilarious friends.
Yes, indeed you do.
Who are willing, if I call them up and say, would you be in my in this thing this goofy, silly thing that I wrote, would you be in it? Would you contribute your talent to it? They all say yes, which it just touches me so much. And so it's been a really great creative experience for me to do my Podhouse 90 is what I call my podcast, which is a riff on, because it's an anthology. The idea of it is an anthology of radio plays that I write, and it's a riff on Playhouse 90, which was a show in the 50s that was an anthology show, and so I do that, and I would love to be in a position to do even more of them, but I don't have the resources, and I have to make a living in the meantime while I'm doing it. So
it's a passion podcast.
It absolutely is, yeah, and and I get to work with my friends and people like Eddie Pepitone and Dana Gould and Lorraine Newman and Julie Klausner and all, and my friends from Mystery Science Theater, Trace Beaulieu, J. Elvis Weinstein, and Dave Gruber Allen and Dave Higgins, people like that. So, they actually say yes when I ask them to be in it. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, people tend to like being in podcasts,
Yeah, well, everybody now, because I think this is the oldest story in movies and television, is that it can be a creatively very frustrating thing, and even people who have shows that they work on or have projects that get greenlit, it can become a very frustrating process where where you're given a ton of notes, and it's kind of, you get bogged down in things that you don't consider that important.
Yep.
So everybody that I know is just thrilled to be able to work in the podcasting world, and none of us make any money, but creative people love being creative, and we love being able to put something out that is really ours, good or bad.
Yeah.
This is really how I see it, and I'm making the decisions here. And they might end up being wrong decisions. I'm not saying that my creative instincts are infallible, but I love just being the one who makes the decisions. Says, this is what I'm going to do, this is how it's going to be, and everyone else I know, Dana Gould, he does his own podcast. Eddie Pepitone does his own podcast. Everybody does these. None of us make a dime from them.
But as I point out to a lot of people about podcasting, there are other rewards other than cash or money. You know what I mean? There's publicity, there's attention, there's like you said, getting ideas out.
For me, with my podcast, it's just I'm very excited that now I get to have a body of work. Which and I don't have to wait for a bureaucrat in some office in Burbank to decide that okay, you're allowed to have a body of work now. I'm like, well, I'm going ahead and having one anyway.
Yeah. I also dig that podcasting has seemed to come like it's radio full circle in that. So the other night for the film that we're making, the documentary, we filmed a live show, so a live podcast. So it's like the old days, live radio, live podcast. And like you're doing a fully scripted anthology style show, that is like old radio. So
yes, exactly.
And you can't do that on terrestrial radio anymore, but you can do it all you want on the internet.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. And I did realize when I started doing it that, most people, when they do podcasts, they do talk shows, and talk shows are still a very popular form, whereas scripted radio drama, not so much.
No, not at all. But there's some out there,
Yeah. But and now that I've started doing it, I actually really love writing radio scripts, because you're just kind of forced to use creative methods for telling your story, and you come up with solutions to things that you never would have used in a visual medium, because it's all through sound. And that to me is a very, it's a really interesting thing. I mean, I sort of wish that scripted radio was really a viable thing, the way it was in the 40s.
Yeah. Well, I think it is in terms of, there's no reason a podcast can't be that.
Right.
There's no reason you can't attract that audience.
Yeah.
And I mean, what was it? I think it was Kevin Smith said somewhere in his book that, people told them that, talk didn't want to be on, we don't want to talk on the radio anymore. It's going on the internet to die. And he was like, no, it's going to the internet to live.
Exactly. And like I said, look at
Mark Maron.
Yeah, Mark Maron. And I was going to say too, the fact that Obama went on his show, and it's very smart of Obama, who is one of the few politicians who realizes that there's this whole other media out there that's there for him to use to get his message across. He did it with Mark Maron's show, and he did it with Between Two Ferns. His appearance on Between Two Ferns probably did more to sell his healthcare plan than anything else he did.
Yeah. Because what that really shows how far podcasting has come. I mean, that show with the president is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a real watershed.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it just, hello, the medium has arrived.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, what was it? You were part of why can't I remember the name right now? The sort of other side project of, is it Battle? No, God, I can't think of it now. The group with some of the former MST3K folks.
Cinematic Titanic.
That's it. Thank you. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I flubbed the name there.
Well, we're not doing Cinematic Titanic anymore because it was Cinematic Titanic was myself, Joel Hodgson, Trace Beaulieu, J. Elvis Weinstein, and Mary Jo Peel, and it was kind of a live. It was just basically a live Mystery Science Theater. Just there. I mean, there were no robots or anything.
Yeah,
it was just the five of us riffing on a movie, and it was really an incredible, one of the best experiences I've ever had in show business because we performed. Doing Mystery Science Theater was great, but to do that kind of thing live in front of an audience took it to a whole other level.
Yeah.
That was really amazing. And but Joel didn't want to do it anymore, so it's not happening. Although Trace Beaulieu, who people might know, played Dr. Forrester.
Yeah.
We were the two mad scientists on Mystery Science Theater. He and I now are going out and doing riffing shows with just the two of us.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we did our first show was an atheist convention in Memphis.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and I'm not an atheist, but I'm a big fan of blasphemy. So I was
well, I am, although I don't like the term atheist. You know what I mean? I'm just sort of, I guess theist neutral.
And right now, speaking of audio effects, I'm letting everybody know that I'm in New York right now.
Yes.
But so yeah, and we did a show in Denver that went great, and we're doing a show in Chicago next month, and then we're going back to Denver and doing the Alamo Draft House there. So we're starting to get gigs with just the two of us riffing on movies, and it's really fun, and that's something we're going to pursue and hopefully keep going.
That's great. Now, he wrote for Freaks and Geeks. Did you write for any Freaks?
I did not write for Freaks and Geeks. J. Elvis Weinstein.
That I know. Yeah.
And Trace Beaulieu and Joel Hodgson were both on it, but
yeah.
I had nothing to do with it.
It was a brilliant show by your colleagues.
Yes, absolutely. J. Elvis wrote on Freaks and Geeks and on Mystery Science Theater, so he's worked on 2 Peabody Award-winning shows.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, but that's true. And Colbert was a Peabody Award winner as well, I believe.
Yeah.
So, that is so. That I love this Air America connection. This is going to be so good when we sit down to do the film, to shoot you for the film. That's going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, a whole new avenue. Hope you don't mind rehashing a lot of this conversation.
I don't mind airing my dirty laundry.
that just like blows me away.
So
you're going out on the road with Trace,
right?
What's next for you otherwise?
Well, I'm going out with Trace and on the road, and I'm also, I do a lot of stand-up comedy here in New York, and I have a monthly show in New York that I do called Cartoon Dump, which is a fake kid show.
Okay.
Where I play Moodsy, the clinically depressed owl, and we show the worst cartoons ever made, kind of the animated equivalent of what we did on Mystery Science Theater. And I have stand-up comedians in the show, and I have musical acts in the show, and we do sketches and songs and stuff. And I do that the first Monday of every month at QED in Astoria, Queens.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Astoria is hip again.
Astoria is very hip. It's a great neighborhood. I love it there.
It's the new Brooklyn.
I think so. Everything. One day Manhattan will be the new Brooklyn.
Are you in Astoria?
No, I'm in Manhattan.
Okay, because my family, my wife's family in particular, are all Astoria roots.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many weddings I've been to the church, which, if you've ever seen A Bronx Tale, that's actually all shot in Astoria.
Oh, okay.
So that church is the church.
Okay.
So anyway, what the heck was I just fell down a pothole, sir. Yeah. So You're shooting it. You're doing shows in the city. When you do your riffing shows, they're scripted, right? You're not doing.
Yeah, they're scripted. Although the shows that Trace and I are doing are a little more loosely scripted. But yeah, they're always scripted. And Cinematic Titanic was very tightly scripted. Although we have Trace and Josh and I have done. We've done live movie riffing with Dana Gould at like a film festival in Seattle, and then at Nerd Melt in L.A. And that was mostly improvised, but it's rare for us to do an improvised show like that.
Have you done any of the riff tracks with Mike Nelson's guys?
No, I haven't done that.
Wow. No offers?
Well, there were recently Bill Corbett tried to make it happen for Trace and I to do one, but we couldn't work out the detail because it's in Minneapolis where they do it, and
Gotcha.
It was kind of a they couldn't they couldn't fly me there and stuff, so
Gotcha.
So I couldn't do it.
No bad feelings though.
No,
Okay.
no.
There's always that perceived feeling, the Joel camp and the that the silliness of back in the day, Joel versus Mike camp.
Yeah, no, it's just Riff Tracks is really kind of the people who stayed with Mystery Science Theater all the way through to the end, and Cinematic Titanic was the people who left in a fit of anger.
Yeah.
Except for me, I left, but I didn't. I left on good terms actually. But Joel, Josh, and Trace all left under contentious, with bad feelings at the time. Although Mary Jo Peel she's in the camp where she was there till the very end, and she actually has done several riff tracks.
Yeah. She seems to be the biggest cross trainer or whatever you want. I'm actually wearing her Forrester shirt right now. So her iron grip.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and talking to me for this past half hour.
Oh yeah, my pleasure.
It's been great, and I look forward to getting together and rehashing a lot of this story in probably more detail.
Okay, sure.
But is there anything else? Can you tell us where we might be able to find you out on the interwebs?
Oh, well, I'm at frankconniff.com, and you can find all of my Pothouse 90 podcasts are there, and there's a new one coming out in hopefully a month or two before the end of the year. So keep an eye out for that, and then you can find me on Twitter and Facebook, where I'm very active on both those things.
And you're at Frank Conniff on Twitter. I know that.
Yes.
Cool.
And Facebook.
Well, thanks so much for being a part of this, and I look forward to sitting down with you in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care.
Cool. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Frank Conniff, everybody. And there you go, Frank Conniff. I cut my own little ending there short. Gene, I think you're back on. You're just not on camera yet.
It's all right.
Do.
They know what I look like.
Yes, but I'm sure they want to see your beautiful face, right?
My Irish spring
When
smile.
Irish eyes are smiling and all that good stuff. There you are. Nope,
My
you're not
Irish spring
quite back on yet. Hang on.
glow. Even though I don't even use it.
There you go. You got the glow. You're back on camera. And the door is wide open too, but that's all right.
I will.
We're actually, I did remember there was something. I want to thank Frank Conniff for spending time and talking to us. That was such a cool and fun little interview we did.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I love the whole Air America connection. It was really.
Yeah, it seems things have just kind of fallen into place with the movie, like the people and the connections and the.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems like it just is happening the way it's supposed to.
I agree.
So I like that.
I want to send a shout out to Mr. Jeremy Ween,
Mr. Ween.
Yes, we've had an interview of his in the can for like over a month, and it really is kind of dated. And I feel like he thinks we're sliding him, and it's not really that. And then, like, he was a guest sort of during our transition to video, and I just want to have him back in and do a nice, fresh recording with him, and
Right.
get him maybe on camera, or even if not on camera, just have a little video with it. So, Jeremy, it is not out of ill or contentious feeling that we have not had you back on.
Oh,
We
I
want to
think
get
he
you back
knows
in
that.
here as soon as possible. We just have to find a moment when you're not busy and I'm not busy, and we can
Yeah,
just
and it doesn't take too long. It goes
bang
by
it
really
right out.
quick anyway.
Yeah, and I'd love to do it live on a Sunday.
That
but
would be good.
love to get him in house, but he's a busy guy. So,
Yeah,
but
I don't
it,
know, but like the car situations too for people in the city. Sometimes they don't always have them.
true. But you can, in the meantime, if everyone out there, if you have not already done so, go out and follow at NYC Podfest
Mm-hmm.
on Twitter and show him your love, because I feel bad that
Jeremy
I feel like
Ween.
we've been giving him the short
Follow
shrift.
Jeremy Ween.
And plus, we got to get him in the movie too. So,
Yes.
which he's already agreed to, but he's a very busy guy.
Well, we are too, and he knows that we're, you know,
Yes.
all love to him.
Yes. Also, in a strange, we have some friends who are now out visiting in Europe, and they just happen to be in Spain.
Oh my gosh.
And so we were like, oh my, so we reached out to Argentina and we said, oh my
Oh.
God, we have some friends. They're very close friends. And they're going to be in Barcelona for like from Monday to Thursday.
It's so
and,
funny.
you know, it'd be great if you could maybe, you know, meet up with them, maybe take them around, show them more the local side of
Yeah.
Barcelona as opposed to, you know, the touristy side. Probably take them to better places to eat.
Did it sound like that was going to happen?
It sounds like it is. It sounds like it's going to happen. So, wow, I feel like I just lost my left headphone. But yeah, so
That's so funny
that's
that
a
they get to meet her before we even get to
exactly. But it's
Argentina.
going to be cool because, you know,
Yeah,
like
get
at
to
least
hear-
we'll have a proxy, you know,
I'd like to hear all about it.
a proxy meeting. So I'm hoping that goes down very
Well,
well.
all three of them are good people, so I'm sure it'll be just fine.
Yes. And this makes for a good transitional point where I can bring in TESD Groupies pick of the week. So let's see. I'm going to do more of this finagling here, folks. Just give me a second. God, I never can do it right. All right. All right, here we go. We're going to have TESD Groupies pick of the week. Let me mute me and you. ThatMan on Fatman presents at TESD Groupies. Tell 'em Steve Dave. Pick of the week.
Hi, and welcome to the TSD Pick of the Week. Let's face it, there's not enough Sandy Jeff in the world. So when this week's Tell 'em Steve Dave turned out to be the second ever Sandy Jeff show, I know TSD Town was rejoicing. It is really appreciated all the efforts done lately to have episodes when people were missing. If that is not TSD love, I don't know what is. And why Sandy Jeff and Walt this week? One of the reasons was that Bry had his hernia operation, and he had to stay in the hospital longer than expected. Boy, I really hope he hasn't lost his sultry voice. And he talks about it at some point, as his stories are always golden. But for some reason, his medical stories, even more, as we have already talked about in previous picks. But even with that, who can avoid more Bry stories? So, let's dive into this week's pick. TSD 109, Dead Baby Pallets. Just before starting, be sure to set your scoreboard to count all the impressions in the episode, mainly from Bry, but also from Walt. And there is also some singing when Walt asks the guy if they have a song they get intimate to. After some car talk, we get to the main topic of the episode. Bry talks about his medical issues, his stay in rehab, the people he meets, and the places where they meet, giving one of my favorite quotes ever. There is also time to make fun of Mick and Mike for the comic book men appearances. Past in a record store, and future in a bowling alley. Before the episode ends, there is time to talk about the Chinese making pellets from dead babies, and the one kid per family policy. So, I hope you re-listen to it, I hope you enjoy it, and you're all the way.
And we're back, even though you can't see us yet. Okay. Here, I'm back. And we want to thank Tessie Groupie for putting that together this week, our pick of the week. I hope you liked the video overlays for those of you who have been able to see this on the YouTubes or watched it on the YouTubes. We really have enjoyed putting the video content to the show. It's been fun. And once you get into the routine, it's not as hard as it originally was. It's getting easier, even though I seem to hit the buttons like very slowly and all that kind of stuff. Hey, it might help if I put you back on camera too. Hey, there we go.
Oh, like I said, they know what I look like.
Yes, beautiful. I should have just you on camera most of the time because you're the.
Am I a ham?
You're the beauty.
I'm looking at you guys.
You're the dancing queen. Yada da
Young
da
and sweet.
da da da. Ooh.
No, you're the dancing queen, young and sweet, only 17.
Okay. Wow. Robbing the Cradle on the song.
Yeah.
That's underage. 17.
There are a lot of songs that are like.
You're 16. You're beautiful and you're mine. Robbing the Cradle.
Girl,
Hey, statutory rape built right into the song.
Girl,
Woohoo.
You'll be a woman soon.
Yeah, I guess. Girl, look what you've done to me.
Me and my whole world. Oh my God, I love
begging you, girl.
For making the morning brighter, girl.
And for those of you who are
nicer,
millennials,
girl.
this is from a show that was once called The Brady Bunch.
Davy Jones.
It was the story of a lovely lady who was bringing up 3 very lovely girls. All of them had hair of gold like their mother, the youngest one in curls. And it was the story of a man named Brady who was busy with 3 boys of his own. All of them were 4 men living all together, yet they were all alone.
4 men living. Mm-hmm.
Except for, I think, Dad was porking
Until
Alice.
one day when the... Ew. That's not
No,
true.
that's right, because she was porking the butcher, Sam.
Butcher Sam.
Sam was giving Alice the
you
meat.
didn't finish the song until one day when this lady met the
fellow,
fellow,
and they knew that it was much more than a hunch.
That this crew
wait a minute.
might somehow form a family.
And that's the way they all became the Brady Bunch. Okay. Now notice a theme song that lays out the premise of the show
It does.
in the theme song.
Well, because you get a character.
What other theme song can you think of that does that?
ThatMan on Fatman.
There you go. And you know where I got that from? Fatman on Batman, which does the same thing. Sums up the show in its theme.
It must be the country thing.
But it's also sort of like that was a staple. Think of Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island. They tell the story right up front. So if you've never seen the show, you're going to know what that show is by the time you're at the credits.
Right. Or you take the good, you take the bad, you take the good, you take the bad.
You take the good, you take the bad. You take the good, you take the bad, you take the good, you take the bad, you take the good.
That's not how it goes.
You take the bad.
Then
why were you saying it that way?
When the world never
they were falling out of it then.
To be lit. 8 is enough.
All right.
8
Silver
is
spoons.
enough.
Give me the silver spoons thing.
Give me how it starts. How does it start?
Something like that.
I'm not good at that one.
Believe it or not.
I'm walking.
That was actually a radio hit.
It's a good song.
Yeah.
The Greatest American Hero.
Yes.
Believe it or not, it's just me.
Yes.
Yeah, I liked him too. I was at that age where it was, like that 13, 14. So
you're obnoxious.
Boys and, any show like that where they were in, the leotard or whatever was good.
Yep. All right, folks. Well, we've pretty much ran out the coil for you today. We'll dismiss the class after a good hour. Also, remember, please, to check out, this is an optional thing. This is not something we ask, but, we randomly harass and beg you to contribute to our Patreon account.
Yeah.
You can get there by going to patreon.com/ThatManOnFatman. And, or you can go to our webpage, which is ThatManOnFatman.com, and click on the Become a Patron link. It takes you over to Patreon, and what it is, it's like a Kickstarter type service, only it caters to the ongoing podcaster or blogger, someone who offers a regular service. And if you want to kick a few bucks to us just to help us offset our expenses,
We occasionally do, we'll give things out for free, early releases. We're big on that. Oh, we haven't done one in a while. We got to get back to it. But again, it's purely optional. It's not required. The show's always going to be here, at least, some semblance of it. But if you enjoy it and you're like, shit, I like the show. I like what these guys are providing. I want to help them out. This is a good way to do that. Also, think about it this way. When contributing, we see about 50% of what you actually contribute. Yeah. So bear that in mind.
So thank you for your help.
Yes.
It really does help with all of the equipment and all the stuff that we have to shell out.
Yep. And it certainly reimburses the SoundCloud that, SoundCloud is essentially available because of Patreon and all that kind of stuff. So thank you. If you are contributing, if you're a Patreon, if you're a patron, and if you're not, become one. It would certainly help us. All right. I think it's a good time to wrap this up. See, I love the video thing. We're done now. There's no editing. There's no craziness. The show's in the can. We'll and YouTubers actually get to see it a day early.
Yeah, you don't have to wait until it's in the... Yeah.
Tomorrow we'll put it on the podcast feed, which will be Saturday, which you said you like, or Sunday.
They get to
Sunday. They get to listen to it on Sunday.
They get to see it while it's going in the can.
You say you like... Yes. Ooh. We could do that. That could be a show.
I know, but that's funny.
I could put it in your can now that we have video.
No,
on show.
But let me explain.
We could do a porno.
Let me just explain. It's
I think
not
we'll be
a porno.
thrown off YouTube, though. YouTube.
But when it's going, because once it's in the can, it's already in. So those people have to see it's done. But you guys are seeing it while it's going in.
Yes, you're watching it. You're watching that sucker
grow right in the can.
Where the fuck is my arm? You're watching it go right in the can. There you go.
I guess I shouldn't be smiling because it looks like it would kind of hurt.
Yeah. Fist in can? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're believing that's really happening.
No, it's not. But hey, what are you going to do? All right, folks.
We're not that kind of show.
Besides fisting in the can, and even if you do enjoy that sort of thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, hey, you never know.
Wow,
you might get
you're
botulism.
A stronger person than I am.
Yeah.
Botulism. That's
bad meat in a can.
That's food poisoning.
That's from bad meat in a can, though, right?
Bad meat in a can?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Gross.
It's an old Howard joke, too.
That is.
Yeah.
Wah, wah,
a lot of Howard talk of late.
Yeah.
When you're talking to guys like Bob Levy and
I watched a little bit of that. Did I say that already?
Yeah,
did I watch it? That was funny.
He's a loon, man. He's a loon.
All I've had, he loves to talk on the phone, and that's all I've been doing is talking to him. So I never got to see him.
He's a loon.
But
he's a good guy. But he's.
But when you talk to someone, you have an idea of what
it felt like chaos over there.
Like you get an idea of what someone looks like when you're talking to them, and you either when you meet them, you're like, oh my god, that's just what I thought they would look like, or like
he looks just the way I thought he would.
What?
Constipated.
That's not at all what I thought he looked like, but he looked just like I thought he would.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He really did. It was funny.
I see.
But that doesn't happen as often as the other. It doesn't happen as often as the other.
That's fascinating.
Yes.
All right, everybody. In case you did not already understand it and know it, we would like to tell you that that's right, I say you are indeed very smart and very good. And we will see you next time. Cheerio.
Bye, guys.
I hate this. It's so calculated. It's just because I'm prepping all this shit. I need an intern. Where's my fucking Dennis the intern? We enjoyed that show last week, by the way.
It was a lot of fun.
You're all smart and good, and we'll see you next week.
Bye,
folks.
guys.
Bye. Now we got to play him some musica.
Keep out of my breath. After people lost their way, keep on searching for a brighter day. Keep on searching for a brighter day. Who's on top? They're telling us lies. They keep us fighting over what's yours and what's mine. Let's save this world. It's not absurd. Gotta step right up now and let your voice be heard. As the people lost their way, keep on searching for a brighter day. Keep on searching for a brighter day. Direction is clear. Just gotta get it together. Gotta get it in gear. We'll keep on pushing forward. It's not that straight. Gotta raise our voice up. We're gonna make a change. After people lost their way, keep on searching for a brighter day. Keep on searching for a brighter day. If nothing changes, nothing changes.
Go get him, Fatman.